Okay, my informative speech I picked for today was how to set up an aquarium and how to maintain your fish. I have two titles as reference: The New Guide for Aquarium Fish by Mary Bailey and Gina Sanford, and the other reference is Goldfish and Breeding, Them in Captivity by Spencer Glass. I also went ahead and asked some questions at Petco and Petland to go ahead and give me some references how to maintain your fish. This is your typical fish tank. Usually, the reason why I picked how to set up your aquarium, because a lot of people don't have time to take care of a pet, and usually it's nice to have to get home and to be able to get home, have a pet, someone to talk to, but at the same time you think that you don't require too much maintenance. As far as a dog, you have to walk it. As far as a fish, you can just maintain them in a fish bowl, usually in a fish bowl, but it's preferred to go ahead and have them in a fish tank. If you go in and buy a fish tank, they usually tell you to go ahead and get a bigger fish tank. You might think that just for the fact of them making money, and get the biggest fish tank, get the biggest food supply. That's not the case. The case is because, for example, on goldfish, the ratio is 1 goldfish for every 8 to 10 gallons of water. So since this is about 10 gallons, I technically should have about 1, even pushing 2 goldfish. But since I have 3 here, I have to maintain the water a little bit more frequently. So as far as space, it's 10 to 8 gallons per fish. Second is the temperature, especially on goldfish. It's about 65 to 68 degrees that you should have the goldfish. So the cooler the goldfish, the water temperature, the better. As far as the change, whenever you go ahead and change, goldfish are one of the messiest fish that we have. So as far as the fish, it creates a lot of ammonia, it has a lot of bacteria, but whenever you change the water, you change it about 25%. If you want to go ahead and change it, you can go ahead and purchase a siphon like this. You go ahead and it's just automatic. You go ahead and put water, and then eventually the water will go into a sink or so. And while you siphon it, you go ahead and clean the pebbles on the bottom and take out all the debris. Another thing is go ahead and keeping a filter system that you have here. That way the water keeps cleaning and it maintains the water actually clean. When you first set up your goldfish, your aquarium tank is going to get cloudy for the first 2 weeks. Usually you see that because you're getting an equilibrium within the environment. Once the bacteria starts kind of growing, that way the bacteria that you have in your fish tank, it helps it clean itself. So that's why about the 3rd or 4th week you see that the water gets a lot clearer. So the first 2 weeks it gets kind of cloudy, which is perfectly normal. When you set up the aquarium and you're going to use tap water, it's good to have this kind of chemical. It's called the Right Start. For every about 5 to 10 gallons, you use half a capful, which is this. It's this big. Just half of that, and you go ahead and empty it out into the aquarium, and this is what you have. Another preventive measure for goldfish is called Aquarium. This is kind of to help it out with any illnesses that the fish might have. As far as a very popular one is called EEK, and you kind of get the idea whenever the fish has a different behavior, whenever it's just isolated by itself, or they're not active like this, or they're always on the top. So that's something to think about. As far as food, you can go ahead and get this. As far as you can go ahead and get flakes. You can feed them maybe twice a day, in the morning and at night. Fish like to actually eat a lot of greens. Something that I have here are actual peas that I got from HEB. Go ahead and actually boil them. And after a while, just kind of throw them in there. Usually fish have their own environment, and they have plants which actually help out with the equilibrium. The plants actually oxygenate the water, go ahead and clean out the debris, but at the same time the fish actually eat the plants. Since I don't have any plants, this is a great way to go ahead and feed them, besides the flakes. As far as light is concerned, fish do not have eyelids like many mammals that we do have. So it's preferred to actually have 12 hours of daylight and 12 hours of night. That way they actually get some sleep. That's why, I mean, you see them and they have really nice eyes, but they actually need to sleep. So something like this, you might want to go ahead and turn off the light and turn it back on, so it actually helps out. A lot of people have them in a fishbowl, which is perfectly fine, but whenever you have it in an aquarium, you can go ahead and take this off and put it back on. Actually, you create your own light, and at the same time, it prevents from most of the water to go ahead and evaporate so that as fast. So when you have this covered, the water doesn't evaporate as much. So you maintain an equilibrium at that. The same thing happens as protection for the fish. Some of these fish are super, like, they're pretty strong. Let's say I don't have this and I go to work. It's happened where a fish actually jumps out of the aquarium because they're so strong. When I come back to work, they're on the floor. So they're not in the aquarium, they're on the floor, and I'm without fish. So this is actually for their protection as well. They're kind of strong fish. Other than that, I mean, it might seem simple. You can just dedicate some time to going and cleaning the water and stuff like that, and you should be able to go ahead and have a nice equilibrium, a nice aquarium every time you get home after a long day's work. If you don't have a pet, it's the perfect pet to have. Thank you. That's it.